Hello there, my name is Triple S, and in this video I'm going to point by point break down and review Season 1 Episode 4 of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Let's begin. Point number 1. I quite like this opening shot, which makes us think we're looking at a starry sky, only for it to then pan down and show Dunk, who is actually imprisoned in a cell. A cell which, in the Hedge Knight novella, is actually described as being a tower cell, where looking out the window Dunk can see across the town, field and forest. Point number 2. In the Hedge Knight, when explaining how Egg is short for Aegon to Dunk, Egg reveals that it was his brother Aemon, who's now at the Citadel learning to be a maester, who gave him that nickname. I find it a shame that this wasn't included in the episode, as it would have helped directly connect this show with Game of Thrones, for those who have only seen the shows and not read the books. Point number 3. Egg tells Dunk there have been 4 kings named Aegon in the past. The first, of course, being Aegon the Conqueror, the first Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, who reigned from 1 AC to 37 AC. The second being Aegon the Elder, who reigned from 129 AC to 131 AC, and is one of the major characters in the show House of the Dragon. The third being Aegon the Younger, who reigned from 131 AC to 157 AC, and who is also a character in the show House of the Dragon. And the fourth being Aegon the Unworthy, who reigned from 171 AC to 184 AC, and who legitimized all of his bastard children on his deathbed, which eventually led to House Blackfyre rebelling against House Targaryen to try and claim the Iron Throne. Point number 4. Here Egg says to Baelor that he wishes Dunk had killed Aerion, whereas in the Hedge Knight he only says that he hates his brother. A change presumably made to really emphasize just how much Egg despises Aerion. Though if Dunk had killed Aerion at the puppet show, he probably would have ended up stabbed or headless before Egg had a chance to order the guards to stand down. Point number 5. Raymond calling Dunk mad for talking to his horses is a reference to Dunk's inner monologues in the Hedge Knight being adapted for the show, by having him say these inner monologues he has out loud to his horses for the benefit of viewers so that they can then know what he's thinking. Also, I myself don't agree with Raymond here. I think talking to your horse is perfectly sane and a normal thing to do, just so long as the horse never talks back. Point number 6. In the Hedge Knight, Daeron is present when Dunk demands trial by combat and Aerion counters with trial by 7, and he doesn't give any support to Aerion's demand. I like that this was changed for the show so that the first time Dunk and Daeron see each other again since at the inn is in the Fossaway Pavilion. Because in the novella, while Dunk does draw a knife upon seeing Daeron enter, he doesn't pin him down and put it to his throat like he does in the show. A reaction from Dunk that I think would not have been as believable if he'd seen Daeron not that long ago at the audience with the Highborn. Point number 7. With Egg and Daeron telling Dunk that the 3 Kingsguard present in Ashford will be facing him and his 6 champions in the Trial of 7, I wonder how many people became confused hearing there are actually 3 Kingsguard in Ashford rather than just 2, since Dunk only met 2 Kingsguard, Roland Crakehall and Donald of Duskendale, in episode 2. And though we do see the 3rd Kingsguard, Willem Wild, in this scene, he's only in the background and he never talks to Dunk. So you could mistakenly believe this was just Roland calling for Donald and not realise that it wasn't if you weren't looking too closely. Plus, the only time you see him in episode 3 is when he's on horseback wearing his helmet. So if you weren't paying attention to the Kingsguard closely enough to notice in some shots you can see all 3 of them on screen at once, you just might never have known that there has always been 3 Kingsguard at Ashford, not 2. Point number 8. Egg tells Dunk how Aerion would threaten to cut off his parts and make him his sister since he has too many brothers, but they already have 2 sisters, Daela and Rey. Daela is older than Egg and Rey, but younger than Daeron, Aerion and Aemon, and Rey is younger than all of them. And in the Hedge Knight, when Egg explains to Dunk that Aemon gave him the nickname, he also says Daeron and his sisters would call him Egg as well. Point number 9. It's revealed here that Daeron has dragon dreams, prophetic dreams which only those who are blood of the dragon experience. Denys Targaryen, known as Denys the Dreamer, had a dragon dream which predicted the doom of Valyria, leading her father Aenar to move their family to Dragonstone, with the doom occurring 12 years later. In the TV show House of the Dragon, it is said Aegon the Conqueror had a dragon dream of White Walkers invading the 7 kingdoms, which was his motivation for conquering all the kingdoms so united they could face and defeat this threat when it came. Also in House of the Dragon, Viserys I dreamt of having a son who would be king wearing the crown of Aegon the Conqueror, and his daughter Helena had a strong prophetic ability which significantly negatively affected her mentally. Jesus Christ, try saying that 5 times fast. Finally, Daenerys Targaryen is the latest blood of the dragon to have prophetic dreams, and coined the term dragon dream in the first A Song of Ice and Fire book, A Game of Thrones. Point number 10. A scene in the Hedge Knight, which I wish had been included in this episode, is when Dunk is on his way to the tourney field. He is approached by several random small folk who all wish him luck in various ways. And Dunk, confused by this, asks Pate why this is happening, to which Pate answers it's because Dunk is a knight who remembered his vows to protect the innocents. It presents a contrast between the small folk and the highborn in the stands who just ignored Dunk, and I'm disappointed it wasn't included in the episode. Point number 11. Here we see 4 of Dunk's champions. Lionel Baratheon, we all know and love. Robin Riesling, who first appeared in the last episode in a show-only scene where he approaches Egg thinking him to be a horse thief. A scene most likely included because in the Hedge Knight, Dunk and Egg never interact with Robin until they meet at the Trial of 7. Then we have Humphrey Harding, who we saw last episode when Aerion stabbed his horse in the joust, causing it to fall and break Humphrey's leg, which is the debt he means to make Aerion pay for. And then we have the 4th champion, Humphrey Beesbury, who last appeared in episode 1 dancing in Lionel's pavilion. No idea if next episode will go into who he is and why he's chosen to fight for Dunk, but in the Hedge Knight, when Dunk meets his champions, we learn that when Raymond went to Humphrey Harding to see if he wanted revenge against Aerion, he was also able to recruit Humphrey Beesbury, because it turns out the 2 Humphreys are actually brothers by marriage. We also learn Egg was the one who recruited Robin, knowing him from other tourneys, and Lionel by dumping a flagon of wine on his head. So Stefan most likely never actually spoke with anyone after promising to find Dunk allies, but instead went straight to Aerion to make a deal to fight for him in return for being made a lord. Point number 12. Connected to my last point, in my video for episode 1, I said I wasn't sure about the change made to Stefan to make him more of an arsehole when he and Dunk first meet. And I wasn't sure because I was worried it would make his later betrayal of Dunk less shocking, and it would leave viewers thinking, well, who didn't see that coming, rather than, wow, I didn't see that coming. But now, I think the intention of making Stefan more of an arsehole in episode 1 was to make viewers doubt any assumptions they might have made about him when they see him pledged to fight for Dunk in the Trial of 7, that maybe first impressions aren't the best impressions and he might not be such a bad guy after all, only to then reveal his shocking betrayal, reinforcing viewers' first impressions of him being an arsehole, and probably making them also feel betrayed, because they were tricked into thinking he might have actually been a good guy, just like Dunk and Raymond were. Point number 13. I really like the look of Stefan's armour with all the embossed branches and apples, though it's a shame his helmet wasn't shaped like a giant apple. Missed opportunity there in my opinion. Point number 14. The guy that stands up in the stands and farts when Dunk is calling for someone to be his 7th champion is Otho Bracken, as evidenced by someone in the crowd saying the Brute of Bracken when the guy stands up. Otho is known as the Brute of Bracken for killing Quentyn Blackwood in a tourney at King's Landing in 206 AC, by caving in Quentyn's visor and face using a blunted long axe. Also, Otho is mentioned by Stefan as being a possible ally in both the show and the novella, but it's only in the show that Otho stands up and farts. In the Hedge Knight, he still responds to Dunk, but does so with his mouth full rather than his arsehole, telling Dunk that, though his cause may be just, it is Dunk's cause, not his. Point number 15. The reason Baelor is wearing armour that looks like Valar's is revealed in the Hedge Knight to be because he never intended to join in on the jousting, and thus didn't bring his personal set of armour with him from King's Landing, so he borrowed his son's. I imagine Baelor might actually explain this at the start of the next episode, with someone probably saying something along the lines of, Prince Baelor, I mistook you for your son. Thank you all everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the video, and I hope you did, give it a like to let me know, and if you want to see more then make sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much again for watching. I've been Triple S, you've all been amazing, and I shall see you all in the next video.